A scary situation that has to do with Donald Trump's, in my opinion, totalitarian aspirations, which is what's been going on in Venezuela. Have you been
Hmm.
following this?
Yeah.
So there was a New York Times report that came out. I think it was about 2 days ago, talking about top Trump aides and their desire to oust Maduro. And this is specifically Marco Rubio. This is backed by Stephen Miller. We have 6,500 troops ready to mobilize. We have a couple different ships that are heading in that direction. They are hell bent on going to war with Venezuela and trying to oust Nicolás Maduro. They are framing this from the angle that Nicolás Maduro is a narco-terrorist, that he is the head of the drug ring that brings in drugs into the United States, even though Venezuela brings in very few drugs into the United States objectively. But regardless, they are framing this from the angle of he's a narco terrorist, and we're gonna go in and take him out. What are your thoughts? What have you been hearing?
Look, I think you're right. Look, Madero's not a person. He's not a good person either, right? And you would think this would be somebody that Trump would admire, right? Some guy who actually lost the election but managed to stay in power.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe he's
but
jealous. That's why.
it could be. I don't know. But for whatever reason, he's got it out for him. And look, I do not agree with what's going on. There's no evidence that they are providing other than a video of them blowing up some boats, but they've never stated anything as to why they did it or what evidence was there other than kind of some of the things that they said they've seen. And my argument has been that, well, they're breaking the law, then go arrest them. Send the Coast Guard after them. Send DEA after them. Go get them. Why are we blowing them up? Just go arrest them and go get them. We had a brief on this, so and I can't talk about what was said in the brief, but I would just say like, we got the 15-minute short version. And I told the chairman of the subcommittee on intelligence and special operations that this is pretty ridiculous, right? If and they even said like, well, we didn't go into all the detail because it was just we only had about 50 minutes. We only had 15 minutes because that was all the Defense Department agreed to talk about it. And I told the chairman of the subcommittee that we need the full brief. Let's get the full brief. Let's get all the details as to what it is. This 15 minutes is ridiculous, covering a topic like this. And so, we'll see what happens. They probably won't agree to do it, but it is, what they are doing right now is just wrong. And we just can't go, you just can't, and they're labeling them like terrorists, right? They're criminal organizations. But, if you're going to go after these cartels, the ones in Mexico have a bigger, impact of what's coming into this country than anything going on in Venezuela. So, why not do that? Venezuela is like an oil-rich company. Why would they do anything with like
Yeah.
drugs? They can do all everything they want and get all the money they need legally through their oil.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So
And then on top of that, I mean, putting Puerto Ricans' lives at risk if Venezuela were to, retaliate. You already see earlier today, I mean, some of the reporting that I was looking at is that Nicolas Maduro has called for a state of emergency, that he is vying to retaliate as a response of they spotted some American planes in their airspace. Um, I am concerned, obviously, with the situation in Venezuela, but I'm concerned with the larger implications of this, kind of something that you were alluding to as well, which is this ambition that the Trump administration has to marry the war on terror with the war on drugs.
hmm
And they allegedly already have plans to, I'm going to say it like this is how I'm going to frame it because this is genuinely what I believe is ultimately underlying their ambitions, to invade Mexico, to go after these cartels. Um, this is a scary escalation with not just Venezuela, but potentially other Latin American countries as well. If we take this to its logical conclusion, it seems like a justification to go after countries like Mexico. It seems like a justification to go after any country that we say is, complicit in the war on drugs.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far as you do and
Sure.
say, but I think you're right at the point. They're trying to kind of use this thing as kind of declaring these criminal organizations as terrorist groups. Are we going to go? Why not do it with the mafia? Is that not a criminal organization here in the United States that is responsible for a lot of crime? Are they not? Same thing in Italy. That's there. So why not declare them terrorist organizations? So the Chinese mafia, the Huaqing, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Why not declare all these organizations terrorist groups as well?
Yeah.
It's just because it's not as, what are you going to go into China now and kind of go after them, go into Hong Kong and kind of take them out?
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah.
it's selective,
It's
very
selective.
selective as to what they're doing and what they want, right? And we know, look, we know he doesn't like people that look like us, no matter they're in Latin America or they're here in the United States, right? And I think that's what this whole, ICE thing is all about, right? Trying to get rid of Latinos out and so on. And this is just another aspect of that they are doing. And again, I think they pick on Venezuela because it's an easy target. And Maduro, again, not a good guy, a guy who basically should not be in power right now, who lost his election, but kind of used his might to kind of stay in power. And so maybe they kind of think like, well, if we take him out, then people aren't going to be there. But I think just like, the Baltic states are worried about Putin. I don't know. Maybe if he does something like that, then maybe I guess we'll start to see the Latin American countries start to worry about the United States, which is, again, I don't think the American people, I don't think you'll have the support of the majority of American people to kind of do that.
No. 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 And again, Nicolás Maduro, like you've said, is not a good guy, not a good person.
Hmm.
But he's not the president of the United States, and he's not in the United States. He is, he's Venezuelan. He's the president of Venezuela. And this seems like something that internally, if you ask me, talk about putting America first. This should be, Venezuela's situation to figure out, and our involvement in it doesn't seem necessary. It seems, on the contrary, risky to me.
Yeah.
Um,
It almost seems like when you think about it, right, they want to go back and repeat. You had Hexa talking about going back to the 1990 standards in the military, like the 1990, what do you call it, the 1990 test,
yeah,
right? So it's almost like Trump is like, well, we took out like Noriega and Panama like in the 90s, right? So maybe we can kind of do the same thing now, right? That kind of went okay and it was good and everybody got behind, you know, George H. So maybe if I did this, it would kind of be the same thing and people would support me and rally around me.
yeah.
I don't know. I
I
don't know
think
what
no,
the
I
hell
think
they're
you just
thinking.
hit it on the nose. I think you're 100% right. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was.